Hey, y'all, trigger warning for talks of contraception, abortion, teenagers, and their sex lives, which we don't want. You know, that's its own separate trigger warning, teenagers. If you don't want to tune into this episode because of that, we understand. We'll see you in the next one.
Welcome to the PITT CREW. I'm Camille, your attending, and I'm joined by my residents.
I'm Mal.
And I'm Robert.
Robert, would you like to present our patient today?
Today's patient presents with a case of they got skills, baby. They got skills.
Listeners, that is not how Robert said it the first time, so the laughter you just heard was very real. I wasn't expecting it.
I mean, that's how Santa says it, right? She's like, we got scales, baby. We got scales.
It's Langdon.
Oh, maybe that's why I was just doing that exaggerated voice, because I'm just emanating Langdon.
Oh my god.
Oh, it is Langdon. Yeah, I don't know why it was Santa's in my brain for a second.
Because they're the same, two sides of the same coin.
They're literally the same character.
It's a metaphor. You take the killing thing and you put it between your lips, but don't give it the power to kill you.
What?
We're already off the rails.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, we are discussing episode 5, 11 a.m. We, I think, are going to be calling it Impact Over Intent. We wanted to stick with the theme of like something that was said in the episode, but I couldn't think of anything. I think that's actually a really good one, though. Originally, I wanted to call it Chekhov's Pit Fest.
But they don't ever say that in the episode.
No. Chekhov's Robbie's stepson.
We got skills, baby. We got skills.
That's not even the line. Oh my god, I'm sweating. Okay.
That's how you wrote the line in the notes, so either you're a liar or...
Oh wait, is it? It's just the way you're saying it that's throwing me off.
We got skills, baby. We got skills. I could do a great Beetlejuice, I guess.
If we need scales, we do have a lizard. We got scales, baby.
We have a lizard.
Go get the lizard.
It's her bedtime, so she's asleep, but roll with it.
Well, speaking of rolling with it, rolling right back into the shift. Boom, boom, boom. I'm so good at that. Okay.
We got skills, baby. We got skills.
We got skills, baby.
Start a counter. How many times is Robert going to say that?
Start 2 counters. How many times are they going to say it normally, and how many times are they going to say it with my Beetlejuice voice?
Oh Lord. Okay, before we start and jump into the episode, I want to give a disclaimer that we're going to be talking about some sensitive political things today. We're going to be discussing abortion, and I do want to just say from the jump, before we even get there, you're welcome to disagree with us. You are welcome to tell us that you disagree with us. Be respectful, or you will be blocked. We are not going to be accepting any kind of nasty emails, comments, messages, none of that. If we get any of that, you will be blocked. I don't care if we lose a listener. Be kind. If you don't have something nice or constructive to say, don't say it. We love when you guys engage with us, but not like that. We're not looking for that, okay? So I just want to set that out from the jump. We are all going to be respectful here, and we're going to keep it that way.
That being said, yeetus fetus.
Robert! Jesus Christ. Oh my god. Okay, so we discussed early, we were like, hey, do Langdon and McKay even interact? Yeah, we have this wonderful interaction right here in the beginning of the episode where they kind of goof off with each other, and we get to see Langdon have a rapport with someone that is not like sassy, moody, nasty. It's like it's not it's not teasing at all. It's just like buddies, you know? It's very surface level, you know.
And I just watched this episode and I cannot remember what this interaction was.
She brings the patient in from chairs, the seizing patient in from chairs, and he says, how's it going out there? And she says, you know, we're way behind, we're never going to catch up. So this, Lord, here we go, is one of the really big points of the episodes, and we're going to start with it, is Santos not being able to get the lid off of the vial of Lorazepam. And This is a big moment for me as a Langdon fan because when I initially watched the show, this seemed like a false flag. It seemed dramatic to me that she's like so freaked out about this one bottle. What the hell do you mean Langdon is tampering with IV drugs? That's insane. That just doesn't make sense to me.
So is he like doing the drugs? Is that what's supposed to be implied?
I guess. And then super gluing the vials back? Like, that just doesn't. What does he walk around with super glue in his pocket?
It's also just kind of a crazy detail to be like, hey, this is wrong. Because like there's been a lot of times that I can't open something and I'm just like, wow, I must be getting weaker. Not like
Yeah.
someone must be sabotaging this jar of pickles that I'm trying to eat right now.
Someone poisoned the pickle jar. Going back to super gluing, because you're like, what, he just has a thing of super glue in his pocket? Liquid bandage or liquid band-aid, which is a thing I think they have in this hospital, it's very similar to super glue. To case in point that when I work in production, let's say, and I often get little cuts with like metal pieces, and instead of getting a band-aid, you just stick it together with, it's literally a bottle of, it feels like super glue. It hardens like super glue.
But to me, it's just insane to think that, like, it's one thing to, like, be taking pills to help be stealing pills to help with withdrawals. Doing IV drugs? That's crazy.
What exactly is this medicine that he is?
It's Lorazepam. It's a benzodiazepine.
There you go. It's a benzo.
And it helps to, like, calm you down. It's in the same as like Librium. What Louis has is a benzo, and it treats the shakes from alcohol withdrawal. But okay, so here's another thing that I don't really quite understand, but I don't work in medicine, is that I've talked to a pharmacist friend of mine and I asked her, would you use like Lorazepam and Librium to treat opiate withdrawal? And she was like, no, that's not an approved usage. She was like, that's not an approved case for use for that. But then I've talked to some people who practice medicine, and they're like, yeah, you could use it for that. So I'm just like, I'm so confused.
Maybe it's just what he what he thinks he can get away with.
And of course, like, I don't know. I mean, even as like the best and the brightest physician, I'm sure, he would get better, more properly tailored medications and like treatment plan if he actually got help from someone instead of just self-treating.
Yes,
self-medicating. Thank you. But yeah, that's wild to me. It's not something that when I thought about this, and then we get to the scene where he's caught, I literally was like, he's doing it for someone else. Like, there's no way that this is for him, because it just doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, I'm fully able to be like, yeah, he did it, but he's pretty. No, like, I fully admit that he did it 100%. Like, yes, no, okay, fine. He did it, but I also just like, I don't know, it just seems wild to me.
The fact that it wouldn't be a wild thing to presume that, like, if he went to court for this, the jury would be like, but he's pretty. Like, don't put him in jail. He's so sexy.
Ugh, but his bright future.
You can't ruin his bright future as a doctor.
Yeah. But I just think the concept of him, like, he's taking pills and he's also just casually shooting up. Like, okay.
That goes beyond what he tells Robbie later, where he's like, oh, I'm just managing my pain slowly, like detoxing or whatever. I'm like, buddy, you don't like manage your pain by shooting up drugs you steal from the hospital. What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I'm also just wondering, like, what is he doing? Whipping his shoes off and shooting up between his toes or something? I don't know. I mean, it would be obvious if he were injecting into his arm, unless but he doesn't take the vials. So, like,
maybe he's drinking them.
Jesus. Now that's a shooter.
He just like cracks it open. It's like a quick shot. He goes, whoop.
Oh my God.
For the most part, I don't think these medicines do anything unless they're in your veins, your intravenous.
IV.
Yeah. So hey, my little joke that he's just taking a shot of it. No wonder he's still in pain. The medicine's not working.
Breaking news: ER doctor has no idea how drugs work. Oh, okay. So,
but he's pretty.
But he's pretty. Santos really pushes back against Langdon here, even though he's got like 4 years of experience on her. she even pushes back on him when Robbie comes in. And this is another thing where I'm just sitting here like, I can't believe this. Girl.
It's like later when he talks to McKay after she calls the cops and he's like, yeah, next time I'm going to bench you. But you know what? This is a learning hospital. And even, attendings have something to learn. It might be something akin to that, where he's seeing Santos be snippy and fight back and like try and be like, no, I think something's wrong. That's why he steps in with like, hey, what's the Latin? It's something. What does he ask her about the seizure?
Oh, something status epilepticus.
Sure, let's go with that. Like that's why he asks her. That's why he asks her. I believe it's status epilepticus. He asks her like what that is because he realizes like, okay, yeah, this is just fighting back and forth. Langdon has sort of given up on her. Yeah, Langdon's not teaching. Santos is like, there's a concern I'm bringing up, and Langdon's just sort of dismissing of being like, I have more seniority and more experience than you. Like it's just a weird fluke. And so Robbie steps in to be like, hey,
Langdon is not teaching, and on the other hand, Santos is not learning. Both of them are just fighting.
Mm-hmm. But this is a learning hospital.
A teaching hospital.
This is a fighting hospital.
Well, if you teach, you learn.
This is a learning hospital.
A learning hospital.
This hospital's just trying to figure it out, man.
We got a fucking resident who doesn't know that you're not supposed to take shots of IV medicine.
Pause.
Wrong kind of shot, Langdon.
Have we been drinking? What the hell is going on? This is the kookiest episode.
Stone cold sober, baby.
I do have a little bit of vodka, but I won't say I'm bringing the most chaos, because I'm not. It's the fact that Robbie is not terribly bothered by Santos fighting so much is strange to me. Like, this is another ping in my head of like, Robbie shouldn't be here today.
Right.
Abbott wouldn't deal with this bullshit. Abbott would be like, what's your problem?
Yeah, I think Robbie should have definitely pulled her to have a conversation after this to be like, hey, you gotta chill.
Like, hey, you're 4 hours in? Well, technically only like 3 so far. 3.5. I just feel like no one checks her except for Langdon. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm so sorry. But it's the guy who is in the bicycle club. And he went to Moab and got injured on his bicycle. And they have to debride the injury on his leg. Have you got... Okay, for anyone who doesn't know what a debriding is, it's like burning the affected area to like cauterize it, basically.
Right.
Have you guys ever had to have something debrided?
No.
Thank God I have not.
I have.
Please elaborate.
I have 2 fake teeth. The thing is, when you have fake teeth, you have to floss between them, but you also have to floss between the tooth and the gum because it's not actually like connected, you know? Like there's a screw there, but like there's like the abutment or whatever. But you have to go up under there because food can get trapped between your gums and the tooth. Well, I hadn't flossed properly, so I got an infection.
Oh no.
Between the tooth and my gums.
Oh no.
And
this
so they
sounds
pulled,
horrible.
Oh, it was so bad. They pulled I'm so sorry for anyone who doesn't like dental stuff. Skip like 30 seconds or something. They pulled the tooth off and the smell was so bad. And then they were like, okay, now that we've taken the tooth off, now you have to go see your oral surgeon so he can debride it. And he had to debride it. And like, they numbed it up. I couldn't feel it, except for the fact that while he was debriding, my tongue twitched. And I hit the debriding tool with the bottom of my tongue and burned the bottom of my tongue. And I'll never forget him just going, ooh, you okay? It was so bad. It was so bad. And then they just slap the tooth right back on top of it and go, okay, have a good day. It's horrible.
Oh,
it's horrible. Okay, anyway, moving on. So we are back to the worm guy, Santos, back where he's, having his seizure. She's defying Langdon in front of Robbie. Again, she's saying, set up an intubation tray, like calling the shots, like she has any right to do that. Robbie doesn't call her out for it. Like, he just doesn't. And it bothers me so much. But again, like, Langdon is treating her like a lost cause. Robbie is not teaching in the way that he should be teaching. I think that Robbie should be teaching behaviorally right now. Not like, oh, what's the textbook definition of, Like,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah. They're both dropping the ball here with Santos.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just don't think she's getting the training that she needs to be getting with these two. And my note here is that Langdon is as cold and as pressed as a great bottle of olive oil.
Beautiful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now Whitaker is he's doing a great job distracting his patient, and then all of a sudden blood starts shooting everywhere, and he's got his mouth open, and I'm screaming at my TV, close your goddamn mouth.
He keeps it open
Whoa.
for like a solid
The
5
entire
seconds.
Well, because I get that the reaction is to go like, and to scream or whatever, which involves your mouth being open, but oh my God.
I think if something, even if it were just water shot at my face, I'd be like, away with my mouth closed, like, oh, no. I don't like
See,
it.
I feel like my mouth would be open. Unfortunately.
And then Mel comes in because he starts yelling for help. So Mel comes in, and she's a genius, and she comes in and is like, oh, here, just put the blood pressure cuff, and like, ta-da, no problem. However, she doesn't do much in the way of like restoring the patient's faith in Whitaker or Whitaker's faith in himself. She's very much just like, again, a touch of the tism. She's just not really thinking about that.
Right. And one thing that I think this show does really well is showing us the strengths and weaknesses of all these characters. And like, because, there are some characters that like Mel is really great with. And then there are others that she just like, the bedside manner is not there.
Yeah. And one thing I have always thought, because Mohan comes in and she's great, like in this scene and moving forward, she's like caring for the patient, but she also is trying to instill confidence back into Whitaker and the patient. She's trying to instill confidence in the patient.
But also, listen, I'm all for like, hey, we got to boost Whitaker's morale, and like, you only learn how to do the good thing if you do it bad first or whatever. That's like my favorite part about being human. You fuck up before you do the thing good. If the patient's like, can I get a different doctor? You kind of should honor that.
Yeah, I would feel not great if I was this patient and this guy who has already kind of screwed up is then continuing to treat me. And like, he's obviously not feeling very confident about what he's doing. Like, I understand that this is a learning hospital, as Robert would say.
If I hear the words, oh, I've never done that before, I'm going to be like, yes, please give me a different doctor.
I think because I've been treated mainly at a teaching hospital, I have a different mindset there. Like my mom, 100%, she does not want students involved in my care. Students and like young doctors, she is really not interested in. But I'm like, well, I'm an adult now, and I don't mind because my medical condition is a birth defect and it's cardiac related, and so I have met a million students. Like they always want to, like my doctor who is there attending always wants them to be there because he wants them to hear my heart. So because that's how they learn, But also like
because you got a freaky heart.
I do, thank you. So the thing is here, I just feel like from the patient's perspective, it does seem like Whitaker messed up. However, he didn't.
Right.
He was doing exactly what he was supposed to do, and nobody else would have realized that it was going to bleed.
Yeah, but that's like in retrospect. In the moment, especially if he's being like, I would like a different doctor, please. And then especially hearing Whitaker be like, oh, I've never done that before. Be like, yeah, no, please give me a new doctor. They maybe should have respected him. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I think that also goes to Whitaker a little bit, is he should be able to communicate differently.
Now, Whitaker should just feel confident in himself. Whitaker, I believe in the you that believes in me.
She's like, just stitch. Wink, wink.
Wink,
You got
wonk.
this. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Santos now comes to Dana, and she wants to report to the manufacturer of the Lorazepam that something was wrong with the vial. And honestly, like, good for her. That is due diligence. If you have issues with something and you don't think it should have been that difficult, you should report that up. Like, that even goes for me working in IT. If I'm trying to do something and it's not being as simple as it should be, it could be an underlying problem that is going to suddenly start being reported by a ton of end users, and I should bring attention to it. And so, like, good for her. Like, I don't think that she was wrong to do that. I don't think that was an overreaction.
See, this is still just so wild to me, her even noticing this at all, because I am someone like something has to happen a couple of times, and then sometimes I still need someone else to be like, hey, this thing was kind of weird, right? And then I'm like, yeah, you're right. That thing was kind of weird. So, like, I'm not present ever. And so, like, this feels so crazy to me that she's like, I had trouble opening one file. We need to tell
I
the manufacturer, because I'm like, girl, I would not have noticed.
But I think it's because she's cocky.
She's cocky, and also she has her experience working in the pain clinic, and so she has experience with how medicines and vials should pop open easily. And it's either something's wrong with the manufacturer or something's wrong here in the hospital, and she's just trying to eliminate, on a what makes most sense kind of basis.
Yeah. I mean, if you bought a bottle of something at the store and then you realized when you got home that the seal was melted or something, you'd be taking it back. Hopefully. Guys, if the seal is broken on something you have purchased. Oh
Nah,
my
fuck a loot
God.
ball.
Depends how bad I want that thing right in this moment.
Exactly. Yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
thing.
If
That
I've been looking forward
bang.
to a nice, cool Dr. Pepper all day, and then I notice that the seal is broken, it's a 50-50 shot that I will still be drinking that Dr.
Like,
Pepper.
I don't know. I will be pouring it into a cup first, but
They're like, "Oh, if your can is really fucked up and bent, you shouldn't drink from it." I'm like, I literally drank from a Pepsi Zero today that was like a triangle, essentially. I'm like, it's still closed. It'll be fine.
you guys.
So, in a couple weeks, when you hear that Robert has botulism,
I was gonna say, when the Tylenol murders come back and y'all die, at least we know it's because y'all took the Tylenol. But honestly, so like personally, good on Santos. Good on Santos. Okay. I'm an ethical hater. I will give her credit where credit is due. I'm a Virgo, okay? It's just how I am. So now we have Jake the Snake. He is a high schooler, pseudo stepson to Robbie. We learn that Robbie was supposed to go to Pit Fest with Jake, but he's given his pass to Jake's girlfriend, Leah. And then this is where I saw someone online recently say this is Chekhov's Pit Fest. So we come back to Mohan and Whitaker, and she's continuing to push Whitaker to do what she knows that he can do. I love that she has faith in him. I love her patience. However, I don't think that Mohan is a good teacher.
Mm.
I think she has good moments. I think that she emotionally connects with people very well. I don't think she's a good teacher. We'll talk more about it in the future when we have this moment where Langdon has left and Mel is working with Mohan on the stroke patient. And Mohan is just not explaining things in a way to Mel that is helping her. She's spiraling, and Mohan is not doing anything to help. She's really not guiding her at all. But again, like we'll talk about that when we get there. I have feelings about that scene. It made me really I just felt sad. But I think also that's just that episode where I didn't have Langdon. And so I was sitting there like, oh, treat her better. Someone check in on her.
she needs Langdon. And I mean, again, I think it comes down to getting to see the strengths and weaknesses of different characters. Like, they are better teachers to certain people than others.
Whitaker needs some help, and Mohan is great in that regard, you know?
Right. Yeah.
As we go back into chairs, McKay is stating that their next patient is an ingrown toenail. And I just want to scream at the top of my lungs. That is not something to go to the ER for, please. Like, guys, there are walk-in clinics. Please just go to a walk-in clinic. If it's something like that, please. Especially because it's summer. So let's be very clear. Please Google things that you need to go to the ER for and things you should go to a walk-in clinic for, please.
Yeah. I do want to say, is this hospital implied to be in an area that's like has an abundance of hospitals and clinics and all that jazz, or like is this the only like main hospital for Miles?
So the Pit is supposed to be, I think it's called Allegheny, which is a hospital in Pittsburgh, but there are plenty of other places. I mean, it's Pittsburgh. There are plenty of other places. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, you could go to CVS, you could go to Walgreens, you can go to a Minute Clinic. There are so many places you can go to get help with this. And then at a hospital that size, they're going to have their own like offshoot clinics. So like the hospital that I go to is Vanderbilt, but around the area, there are tons of Vanderbilt walk-in clinics that you can go to. You do not have to go to an ER. Please save the emergencies for the emergencies. It's the same rule of thumb as like, please don't call 911 for something that is not life-threatening.
Unless it's like really infected or something, but it doesn't sound like it is with the way that McKay is like, nah, this is going to be fast.
You're like, you have an ingrown toenail, walk-in clinic. Your toe is in your hand and you're holding it separate from your body, ER.
I feel like I've seen sometimes on the internet, people are like, well, how do I know the difference? Even if you don't Google it, go to an urgent care first, go to a walk-in clinic first. If it's serious, they will call an ambulance to take you to the hospital.
And also, I'm like, if you can get yourself to a walk-in clinic, you're probably at the right place, I feel like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But that's just my opinion. I'm no doctor, but I'm no doctor. Sherry is back, and Doug is really pissed off because he says she's skipping the line, basically. He's like, I've been waiting a lot longer than this lady, which isn't necessarily true. I can't remember exactly how long Sherry has been there at 7 a.m. I know Doug's been there for hours already, but I feel like Sherry has also been there for a while. Earl is in the waiting room because he wants another sandwich, and so he's eating a bag of like Doritos or something. And I just want to say, in defense of Drew Powell, the actor that plays Doug, he's also like, he seems to be a very kind guy. From his social media, he's like very anti-MAGA. And one of his friends posted after that episode that he, quote, rarely ever punches nurses. It's like, oh yeah, Drew's a great guy. He rarely ever punches nurses. And I thought that was great. We cut to Collins, and she wants to talk to Robbie about the measurements that she has on the ultrasound, the fetal ultrasound, that don't match Abbott's. Robbie states that there's a very valid chance of like intraoperative variability or like something of the sort, but Collins insists that it's not. He says, it's an art. And she's like, yeah, not like this. She's basically like, yeah, it's not abstract art though. And so Robbie asks if she's trying to say that Abbott lowballed his measurements to help a teen get the abortion she wants. And so before we discuss this, I'm going to run through some things. Robbie says that she can either go with Abbott's measurements or she can go back in and fudge her results. And Colin says that she is not willing to risk her career for that. She says that the risks are not the same for her as they are for Robbie, which is very true. One thing that I think about a lot in this episode, every time I've seen it, an example of Black women being punished a lot more harshly than a white woman would, is Tanya McDowell. She was an unhoused woman. She intentionally sent her son to the wrong school district so that he could be enrolled in a better school. And she was sentenced to 5 years in jail. Similar to that, Sherry in this episode admits that she has done the same thing. But there is no one reporting her for this. She doesn't get in trouble for this. And that's not to say it's a perfect, obviously one is fictional and one is a very real case of a mother who was doing
Right.
something where there are no victims, but somehow went to jail for 5 years for this. So white women are just not met with the same consequences that Black women are. Also, some statistics for you. As of 2019, Black people were 5 times more likely than white people to be in prison and 3.8 times more likely to be in jail. I want to make it very clear to people listening that that is not because Black people are more criminal or that they commit crimes at higher rates. It is because Black people's bodies are criminalized at higher rates than white people. Their communities are over-policed. They are met with consequences for things that white people get away with all the time. And that's a fact. That is, when people say racism, it's not just slurs and things like that, or treating someone differently in everyday life, or not wanting to associate with them. It is systemic. That is systemic racism. The disparity between the amount of Black people and the amount of white people in prisons and in jails in the US is systemic racism, is one example of it.
Absolutely.
My face is heated right now. I'm like, my cheeks are flushed. I'm so frustrated just thinking about this.
And then, thinking about, a lot of examples, but like also the school one, a lot of crime is sort of exacerbated by poverty. And, we have such inequality in this country, a lot of which is just kind of rooted in the years and years and years that, Black people were exploited and used as free labor and then basically given nothing and have had to like kind of not to use the Republican phrase, but like pull themselves up by their bootstraps and with like
Oh my god.
everything stacked against them. And like so it's just like there's just so many layers to all of this.
Yeah.
I watched a TED Talk that I really loved once upon a time, and it was about how desperately we need criminal justice reform in America. And unfortunately, I think that I found out a year or so ago that the man who gave the TED Talk was accused of like sexual harassment or something like that. So very unfortunate. However, I do want to say that that does not negate the speech he gave on criminal justice reform in what he said, because he was right there, but he's still an asshole. And so like I would encourage.
Heartbreaking. The worst person you've ever met just made a great point.
Oh, God, I was so disappointed, but it's an incredible TED Talk. Again, this is one of those things I'm gonna have to remember to link at some point. If somebody listens to me say this and is like, I want that, let me know. Send us a message on Instagram or something, and I'll go find it and I'll post it for everyone. It's an endless, vicious cycle. It's really unfortunate. Robbie says that he will take over the patient. He says, you know what? I'm a provider for mifepristone. You're not. I really should be seeing any patient that I'm going to be giving it to. So go in, delete your stuff. It'll be like you never saw her. Again, morally gray, but there's this moment for me. And like, I know from an interview that Sean Hattasey did not know about this until the episode came out, that Abbott had done this.
Mm.
That was just something that was in the script. And he was like, oh, I didn't know, but cool. I think that this plot endears Abbott to me so much.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, falsifying medical records is a crime.
If you get caught.
But if the rules that you're breaking suck, controversially, maybe you should break them.
I think that there's, what is the saying of it was something about like, it's something about like how morality doesn't mean you followed the rules. It like, because people who've done horrible, hateful, awful things in history followed the law. They didn't break the law. They still did horrific things while acting within the law. And it is oh wow, it's hard to discuss it in the way that I want to, because I'm sitting here talking with two of my close friends about an issue that is so tricky.
Mm.
But also not. But then I also sit here and go, well, track record says at least like 200 people are going to listen to this. And that's kind of terrifying.
We want to issue a legal disclaimer that we are not telling you to break the law. However, it's only breaking the law if you get caught.
Yeah. It's, I love Jack Abbott for this. And I mean that with all sincerity. I really love him for this.
Oh, 100%. He's like, listen, this teenage girl wants to like not ruin her life. And I need to really emphasize that like getting pregnant, even as a teenager, for some people isn't ruining their life. Some people, it's not ruining their life. For this particular girl, she feels like it's ruining her life. Whether it does or doesn't fucking matter. She should have her own voice to say what happens to her body.
I think that there's a very common argument that people are like, what if you aborted that baby that was going to cure cancer someday? And I'm like, okay, and what if this teen mom was going to cure cancer someday? But instead, she's a teen mom now. She didn't get to go to college. She didn't get to go get her doctorate. She didn't get all of that because she had to drop out of high school to take care of a baby because she didn't have a family that was supportive or whatever. Or she did have a family that was supportive, but they're also, oh, well, you've got to take care of this now. And it's like, well, she tried to. She tried to do the responsible thing and to take care of it.
There's also no real cure to cancer.
Well, what?
There's
Ooh.
also no real way to cure cancer.
Yet. Because you aborted that baby, Robert.
Oh, no. What have I done?
No, there's
It's also like to make like hypotheticals like that driving this
the deal
argument
in
is
hypotheticals.
so nuts because like pregnancy is a crazy thing to put your body through. Like that is a lot for a person to go through. And like consenting to have sex with someone is not necessarily consenting to then 9 months of like your body going through hell.
10 months. That's one thing that I'm like, wait a minute, 40 weeks. How many weeks in a month? 4.
Sometimes
10
it's
months.
5, so that might be why the 9 months is like the standard.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It wasn't even like a big deal until like, I think it was like, forgive me if this is not the right term, but it was like Christian nationalists basically in like the 80s, the 70s or 80s. And they were like, God, we're losing people. What can we find that we can make into a hot button topic?
Ronald Reagan.
The Republican Party really didn't care about abortion until the 80s when they suddenly were like, oh, we have an idea. And then they took this and they ran with it. And you can listen, there's a very interesting podcast called, oh my gosh, I think it's called Liberty Lost. It's about Liberty University and like unwed mothers, like teenage mothers, and how they handled that situation and basically paid them for their babies. And it's just kind of bonkers banana pants. But you can listen to that. That was really interesting. I heard that recently. I listened to all those in quick succession. It was very interesting.
Well, I read something one time that really stuck with me that someone said that the unborn is a very convenient group of people to advocate for because you don't have to do anything. Like a fetus is not asking anything of you. You don't have to financially support it. You don't have to provide it with food. You don't have to uh, give it any money because like it's not a person. And once it is born, it is no longer unborn. And so you can just kind of wash your hands and be like, well, we saved the baby, but then you have.
But now you have a suffering baby.
Right.
And a suffering mother.
Exactly.
So it's so like, come back to me. Your entire argument is invalidated by the fact that you don't want people to have food stamps. You don't want people to have birth control. You don't want people to have free school lunches. You don't want aftercare or after school care. You like
none of those things are pro-life.
Come back to me when you solve those issues and then we'll talk.
Right.
Because those are issues you are directly contributing to every goddamn day that you don't find a solution, but you also fight so vehemently against something that could help with that.
Right.
Once you have designed a perfect world in which every baby that is born is loved and supported and has all the resources that they need, then we can talk about abortion. Mm-hmm. But until then, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that there's this conversation brought to you by the Hyman Havers. But I just it's and I want to like the disclaimer. Mel, I'm sure this is the same for you. The disclaimer is this is not how I was raised.
Oh, definitely not.
What age were you when you changed your mind, do you think? Do you remember?
A lot of this is horrible. A lot of my politics were shaped by tumblr.com.
Yes.
When I got on Tumblr at like 13, 14, the world opened up a lot.
Yeah.
And I learned about a lot of things that good and bad that were never like never things that I was able to talk about before because it was like everything was very hush-hush about the like controversial things. But
it's just so wild that up until I was like 12, 13 years old going on Tumblr for the first time, I didn't like really process through my dumb 12, 13-year-old brain like, oh yeah, people like should like have all these cool rights and like the world doesn't give them to them.
Yeah. Or also like they should just like do what the fuck they want.
As long as it hurts nobody. That's my mentality.
And I was reading something today because I wanted to try to find a way to articulate my thoughts better because sometimes I have very strong opinions and sometimes I word them very, very well. And other times I just sit here and go, it just seems like common sense and I don't know what else the fuck to say about it. And I read this thing that said that, I mean, I started thinking about like changing the verbiage because if you're pro-life, then you should be supporting food stamps, SNAP benefits taking care of mothers and benefits for those people and care for children and all those kinds of things, tax credits for families, all that kind of stuff. So you can't really call yourself pro-life if you don't care what happens to a baby after birth.
You're pro-birth, not pro-life.
Pro-birth, and then also pro-choice. I just want to point out the fact that, like, the other side doesn't call it pro-choice, at least in my experience. They call it, like, pro-abortion.
Mm-hmm.
That's not those are two entirely different things. Pro-choice means, "Babe, I want you to do whatever you wanna do.
Right.
I don't want you to have an abortion. I want you to do what the fuck you wanna do."
Right. I want people to be allowed to make choices that make sense for them. And like, I don't have to understand it. I don't have to, like, it may not even be the choice that like I personally would make, but I think you're doing people a disservice to legislate your beliefs as if they are the only correct way of thinking, when this is a country that is full of so many different ideas and so many different people with like so many different lived experiences, and like Christianity is not the only thing. Sorry, cut
And
that.
that's
Don't trash talk the Christians.
No. I'm Christian, and we can say that because this country was built on the separation of church and state, and
Right.
that's not what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
Should we put the soapbox away?
Perhaps
Shall
we
move on?
should step down and move on.
Get back to the silly goofy time. Dana, I love how well she cares for everyone. She's taking care of all these patients, but she somehow makes her coworkers her patients too, because she thinks that Collins looks a little peaked, which just means like unwell. She's gonna find her a sandwich. By the way, so I wanted to be a midwife for a while, so I know that like the best way to combat morning sickness is to like have a little something on your stomach at all times.
Right.
So like keep crackers by the bed, eat, make sure there's something in your tummy at all times, and that's a really good way of handling morning sickness. So it's good to keep something with you. Ginger Kitajima comes in with her daughter Rita.
Icon.
She fell in the yard. She hurt her arm. She's covered in scratches. I recently got caught by my mom's rose bush. Like it like literally caught my shorts and pulled them, and I was like, God damn, like that hurt. Ginger is on risperidone, which is an antipsychotic medication, because remember, her daughter says that she has schizophrenia. And so I also just want to say Ginger and Robbie forever, five ever.
I love experiencing risperidone in a medical drama in the way it's supposed to be used, and not in the only other way I've ever seen it, in an episode of House MD.
Say more.
Please.
I don't know what you're saying. Say more.
In that episode of House MD, there's a mother dying of presumably some kind of disease. They can't quite gather what it is until House has his eureka moment, and he's like, give her risperidone. And they're like, but that's an antipsychotic. She's dying. She's not crazy. It's the 2000s. They use that language. And and he's like, oh, well, risperidone has another effect where like it'll like make you lactate or something like that. And they found out that like some cells had like some cancerous cells that turned into like a breast, quote unquote, on this lady's like knee pit. And they found out by like it's House MD. It's a fucking wild show. And like
she had tit knees.
She had tit knees that had breast cancer. And that is the only other time I've ever seen risperidone used in a medical drama.
Okay.
What a pull.
I can't
thank you for that.
I can't think of any examples off the top of my head right now, but I know there are some very common prescriptions or like prescription medications that are used for like they had a side effect and like they were like, oh, the side effect of this is this. Hey, we could treat this with it, even though it's not at all what it was made for. So that's fun. Whitaker gets his third pair of scrubs for the day. He gets more scrubs. Myrna likes big butts.
And she cannot lie.
Does Whitaker seem caked up to you guys?
Absolutely not.
That man needs a sandwich. That sandwich he stole, he needs another one.
That man is a twig.
So he's not caked up to the gods, is what we're Dana notices from a distance and rushes in to save Whitaker. She says, "Don't worry about Myrna, she's harmless." And he says, "She's handcuffed." And she
That's
goes,
why she's harmless. Good.
so good. Joyce Claire is giving her wife a list of things to do and to remember. And honestly, this is just so ominous. It's so ominous. And through this conversation, we learned that Mohan's dad died when she was 13. She got into medicine because of him, and she's studying racial disparity in the ER. She's doing a retrospective chart review for patients of color. And like, do you sleep?
Clearly not. We see when the shift ends that she breaks the fuck down when she has 2 seconds to like sit down and realize, oh God, I've done so much.
So
Much
do you
like
relate
Robert.
to her? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you relate to her the most? The finger. Dr. Robbie comes in and he wants Mohan to deliver the bad news. He really wants her to step up. Like, he comes in and says, this, but that means take it away. Like, he wants her,
Mhm.
he is setting her up, shoving her on stage to do the hard thing. This is the right thing. And from a teaching perspective, good for him for doing this.
Right.
This is, like, she does need to bite the bullet and just handle it. So basically, the news that they're giving them is that Joyce needs to be intubated, like, yesterday. And it's interesting because later on, this intubation is actually going to line up with another intubation. And I think I like watching the contrast. I didn't realize that until I watched it for this episode or for this recording. I didn't realize it was 2 intubations happening at the same time, like contrasting each other. And I really loved that.
I think I realized that because we don't see Joyce Sinclair get discharged later, obviously, because she's still in the hospital intubated. So I presume she goes upstairs to the ICU or whatever when the pit shooting happens, right?
Yes.
Damn. I used my brain to think.
Wow. And I will say, Supriya Ganesh, who plays Mohan, I've mentioned it before, but I posted some, like, the Pit characters as Taylor Swift songs on Instagram once. And she said that she listened to Epiphany by Taylor Swift throughout the entire season 1 filming. And so I just want to, like, anyone who is not a Taylor Swift fan, doesn't really listen to Taylor's music.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion. That's fine.
Yeah. Bye. The lyric that, resonates the most is something med school did not cover. Someone's daughter, someone's mother holds your hand through plastic now. Doc, I think she's crashing out, and some things you just can't speak about. So,
Hashtag
that's it's again, it's something that med school didn't cover, is dealing with that. And I applied that to Robbie, but she commented and was like, "Hey, I listened to Epiphany the entire time we filmed season 1." Jake is with Langdon. They're being goobers. We get to kind of see the way that Langdon is probably with his children. He's being goofy. He's playing games, getting called an old man.
Spinning in the spinny chair.
Yeah, he's getting called an old head. And then Jake sees Nick Bradley being pushed through. There's this somber moment between the two of them where Langdon, like, I find it interesting that up into, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, up to this point, every time that someone has asked if Nick is going to make it, they don't say it out loud. They just shake their heads. Because this happens with Robbie coming out, and
And
Dana
Dana
says,
asks
that
him,
kid going to make it, and he
and he
shakes his
shakes his
head.
head.
And then here, Jake says, basically, he asks the same question, is he going to make it? And Langdon shakes his head. But nobody said it out loud yet.
Yeah, we can attribute that, but also maybe we can attribute, like, it's symbolic of Robbie's denial, like Robbie constantly doing these 2 tests to be like that slight % chance that maybe he's okay.
So from this, we move on to Santos talking to Donahue about how he would, like, hypothetically, would you talk to your attending about a resident if you had problems with them? And the premise is that she's asking this question as in, like, I'm gathering opinions, but I'm also like, okay, Donahue is a random ass nurse. You've been here for 4 hours. You haven't asked any superiors yet. You apparently have a major problem. So for her to go to Donahue, that's just fucking gossiping.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. You could be like, oh, she really just was trying to make sure, she wasn't trying to. Well, no.
But you
She's
can have a
gossiping.
little gossip in the workplace for camaraderie.
This
Like,
is a lot more serious than that.
but also, I think something like this, you have to, at least me, like, I would have to feel out a little bit. And I wouldn't go to the people like higher up in the hierarchy. Like, I would go to people kind of at the same level as me who maybe have like been in the job a little bit longer than me and be like, would you ever do this? Like, because I don't know. I'm like, I don't want to do something that's like totally wrong and overstep entirely on my first day. And so this was relatable to me. It
To
was like
me,
this
though,
made sense.
Dana is not, like, higher up the food chain than she is, right? Donahue, like, has absolutely nothing to do with the situation. If she actually wants guidance, she should go to someone that can give her guidance. But, like, what do we know about nurses from this show and from everything else is they gossip.
Right. That's very true.
Any of our new people on this shift are gonna know that nurses gossip. It's gonna be her because she actually has experience.
I would disagree, Dana not being like higher on the food chain than she is. Not necessarily like by position, because like I don't know intern versus like charge nurse, but just socially. Like Dana very much has a relationship with Langdon. Like as you've pointed out, she's the keeper of his Red Bull. Like she's clearly fond of him. And I don't think she wants to open that can of worms with somebody who she has seen like positively interact with Langdon. Like she kind of sees that they're close, you know? So I don't know. To me, it makes sense that she's doing this.
I don't know. I mean, Donahue also has a good relationship with Langdon. Like, I get where you're coming from. I do. But when I sit here and think about it, like, we get a moment later on in the season with the guy who gets hit by the car and he comes in with his dog and he's got the gravel in his leg. And when Langdon is there, he like wipes off the ultrasound wand and then like turns and tosses the towel behind him to Donahue. Like, they clearly have like a buddy rapport with each other. And I just don't think that you can come in and have a senior resident that people don't have a rapport with. Like, I just think this is a bad judgment call on her part.
Yeah.
I personally, it just strikes me as gossip more than anything.
Workplace gossip is always a little bit risky because you don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
who's friends with who, but also you gotta vent and rant.
Mm,
Otherwise, you'll go crazy.
yeah. But I'm like, girl, you've been here for 4 fucking
Yeah.
hours.
Be careful. Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
So we have a wonderful moment with McKay and Sherry, and they're bonding over like perceived failures of motherhood, basically. Like McKay is talking about she took her son camping and they flooded their tent and she felt like she was being flushed down a toilet. And then, of course, Sherry burned her hand on the sterno. McKay says that she was an addict and that she lost custody of her kid and that she's been sober for 9 years, 5 months, 11 days. McKay is going to get her monitor off next week, and Sherry is so unsettled by the ankle monitor. And then, of course, McKay is like, don't worry, I only killed like 3 people. And then she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, it's such a bad joke. McKay says that she's oversharing because she wants Sherry to know that not everybody has it figured out all the time. And we can tell that Sherry has really come to the point where she is ready to ask for help. And then she also says that she wonders if her kids are better off without her.
Not like that. Not like that.
Not like
Yeah,
that.
not like that.
McKay has a moment of like, she does a great job of not freaking out. She doesn't ask the question. She just makes sure that Sherry feels comfortable enough to be on the same page, if that makes sense. And so she kind of just encourages Sherry to like elaborate. And Sherry's like, not like that. I just mean that like if they had a different mom, basically. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
No, McKay does a great job in this
Oh my
interaction.
God, yeah. We're moving on again to Rita and Ginger. Ginger's making her wonderful joke about there goes my backhand. And Mel just stands there and she goes, that was a joke, dear. And she goes, okay.
I love Mel.
So good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Rita is going to have to help her mom bathe and dress and use the restroom on top of everything else for the next, 6 weeks. Ginger does not want to be in assisted care. And then Dana comes in and she's like, are you the red Subaru parked in the ambulance bay? Gotta move that. And the lady's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she's like, yep, okay. as she's walking away, which is it's so like, did any of you guys watch this and go, does she need a cigarette or something? Is she being crabby?
I mean, you can't park in the ambulance bay. I'm sure she
Right?
has to chase people down for this all the time, and it's
I'm
annoying.
surprised they just they're like, "Hey, did you do it?" Like, from my understanding, most ambulance bays will be like, "Hey, there's somebody parked here. Tow truck. Okay,
Yeah, I'm surprised she
n-
didn't get towed immediately.
now we have access to the ambulance bay for the ambulances."
Mel takes this practical approach to Rita's emotions by like, you could do this and you can do this and this was really helpful. And then when she realizes that's not working, that it's not what Rita needs in this moment, she finally says, caretaker fatigue is a real thing, you know? And she like meets her where she's at, which is so like emotional moments do not flummox her, by the way. She's great. It might take her a little bit to catch on, but she's great.
Jokes, however, flummox her a little bit,
Yes.
but
Oh,
emotional
yes.
moments, no.
No, 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 no. Now Christy is getting her third ultrasound, which is upsetting to I can't remember her name. Her
Something with
quote
a
unquote mom.
something with a D, I
Oh,
think.
her aunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't got there yet.
Oh,
Mel.
sorry. Her
Thanks.
mom. She's her
Oh,
mom.
I can't believe you spoiled in this spoiler podcast where we spoil things that happen in the future with spoilers. Spoilery.
So Christy's getting her third ultrasound, which is concerning to the both of them. And then Robbie's like, "Oh, great. You missed the cutoff by 1 day. You're fine. Yep, everything's good."
Convenient.
Here's the weird thing is they're like, oh, the cutoff is 11 weeks, I think they say, 12 weeks?
11.
11.
11, which is weird because if you Google up until how long can you get an abortion in Pennsylvania, the Google will tell you 23 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, I looked into it and then I had to remember that like this may have been written like this was probably written at a time where policies were different because things are so rapidly changing. So I don't know. I don't know what Pennsylvania law was like at the time that this episode was written. God bless you, Dr. Robbie. Sticks with Abbott's measurements basically, or gets as close as he can, gets a good angle. And then Dana clocks a moment between Collins and Robbie, and we find out that they used to date.
And I was
Shocking.
hoping I would get a medical drama where at
No one's
least
ever dated.
where no one's ever fucked.
I
don't think it's possible to take any workplace and not any words. I don't think it's possible to look at any.
Cannot be.
I think it's possible to look at any workplace and have 0 coworkers that have slept together.
What I really liked about the pit for the longest time is that there was no talk about like no one was ever like Langdon is so hot or anything like that. I appreciated that. But then we blew that streak. Probably not the best wording. We
And we blew Langdon. No, sorry.
We ruined that because then we have a conversation between Perla and Princess later on where they start talking about like, who do you think has slept together? And I'm like, God damn it. I thought we were going to escape this. I'm just like, God, I wish we'd left that out. I just didn't like it. I don't know.
That feels like typical coworker.
Yeah, but I was enjoying the show so much without that. But I don't know.
I mean, I know for a fact 2 of my coworkers have slept together because they're married and have a child, but
You buried the lead. You had me in the first half, not gonna lie.
Oh my God. So Robbie goes to take a call from the organ donation counselor, but then he gets distracted by Jake, and then he gets distracted from Jake by an incoming patient. And this is the guy who's having a post-tonsillectomy hemorrhage. Have you guys had your tonsils removed?
no, I still got them.
The only thing that's been removed from me has been my appendix.
We're renaming the podcast the Tonsil Crew. We've all got our tonsils.
Exciting.
Do we all have our appendix?
I have
I
my
do.
appendix.
Fuck you both.
Suck my appendix.
That's the most cursed thing that's been said on this podcast so far, and we've said some whoppers that we've had to cut out. So I'm leaving that in just to give our audience an idea of what the worst has been.
Can you imagine? I'm sorry. Sucking on an organ? Blech. No.
no.
A fresh one.
That's horrific. No,
Go
thank
off,
you.
Edward Cullen.
No! Bad.
Oh my god, I'm so glad we're hundreds of miles away from each other. Robbie wants Whitaker to take point on this next patient, but then he sort of just like bulldozes over him, which is kind of awkward. And it's not great for Whitaker because he's like trying, but then like Robbie takes his notebook and it's just like, oh, awkward. Mohan still doesn't have the consent sign for Joyce for intubation. She needs to hurry the fuck up.
Slow-mo.
Yeah. Robbie is really harsh with her here, but he's not wrong.
No.
Like, this woman could die.
He's right.
Doug is coming back out. Terrence, the autistic patient from the next episode, is here now. He has taken Doug's seat. Doug is pissed off. Doug tries to commiserate with the wrong person because the person he sits next to now is Earl. And he tries to bitch about, oh, they took me back there just to get vitals, stick a thermometer in my mouth.
Repeat vitals every 4 hours. Earl knows his business. He's like, that's what they do. Get with it.
I identify so much with Earl here because like I will get into a fight on behalf of a service worker. If it's someone just trying to do their job and you're being an asshole about it, I am going to pick a fight with you. I have done that before. It's the Zoloft, honestly. I would never have done that. Without Zoloft in my system, I would never.
It fills you with rage and support for service workers.
Yeah, I have yelled at strangers, and I have also like looked at grown men throwing fits at Starbucks and just been like, you're being very rude. Do you know that? Do you understand that you're being a dick right now? Let me just be very honest. When Jake comes in, he and Langdon have a moment where Langdon is giving him advice, and he says, always wrap it before you tap it, and he gives him a condom. And now Jake is talking to Princess, and Princess starts telling him about the best sex of her life, and then she gives him a condom. Am I the only one who's really grossed out by this? Like,
he's 17. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
The only person that should be giving him condoms is Robbie.
The story is a little bit much. Like, the story from Princess.
Yeah. The story's too much. But, like, everyone handing him a condom is, A, kind of funny, and B, like, hey, kid, you have a girlfriend. You're dating her for 2 months. As a former 17-year-old who was in a relationship with a girl for 2 months before, yeah.
Right. I kind of enjoy seeing sex so normalized because I think the way that I was raised and the way that I grew up, I was kind of taught my whole life that like sex is shameful, sex is wrong, and like these urges and desires that you have are like wrong. You should not be doing that. And I think like, I mean, I'm not in a relationship right now, but I think even if I was and like got to that point with someone, I think there would be a lot that I would have to get over because I have internalized so much of these ideas that like sex is wrong, and it's like something that, you know, we don't talk about because like it's bad.
Similar to Bruno. Yeah, we just don't talk about that. No, I think, okay, and I will say, like, to my mom's credit, it wasn't that sex is bad. It's just that it's a very sacred thing to be saved for marriage. And then just the culture, the purity culture, it did a number on me.
Yeah. Purity culture, really, it'll get you. It'll get you. Like, so much of teaching me that, like, my body is bad and, like, it's my job to not be a distraction to boys. And
I think I was taught that my body is beautiful, but it's like that it's a sacred thing that should be covered up. I couldn't wear tank tops. Like, I had to wear something over the tank top. And also I had to, like, wear a bra, even at home. And it was very much like a protect yourself kind of a thing. But I think the double-edged sword of protect yourself is everyone is out to get you. And I wish that hadn't affected me in the way that it did. However, I'm willing to admit that, like, watching this scene and watching the other people like, haha, but I'm giving him condoms, part of my uncomfortability with that comes from the way I was raised. And also just like certain sexual things, like I'm just like, no, on TV. Even if I'm by myself, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, let's move on. You know?
Yeah. But I think, you know, also we have in this same episode another 17-year-old dealing with an unwanted pregnancy. And I think they parallel each other nicely. You've got a bunch of people who see this kind of stuff all the time and are like, use a condom. Don't don't get in this situation.
Worth mentioning, by the way, that Christy Wheeler comes in for an abortion and she's traveled from Tennessee, which is where I live. I think we find that out later. When she's leaving, we find out that they traveled from
How
Tennessee.
far is Pennsylvania from Tennessee?
I'm going to guess like an 11-hour drive. Watch me be so wrong.
8 hours, 16 minutes.
Oh, I was wrong.
But that's just to I don't know where in Nashville to I don't know where in Pittsburgh.
So Jake goes back into the ED as Perla and Mel are coming out with Ginger. Rita has gone to move the car, but now she hasn't come back. And it shouldn't have taken her any longer than 5 minutes. But she's nowhere to be seen. She's not answering the phone, which is very concerning. And we cut now to Sherry. She's ready to leave. She's getting her instructions. And Javati really fucks it up.
Javati really screws the pooch. Oh my god, she comes in like she's so excited to be like, oh my god, hi, here are all those resources you can use, and oh, it's free, don't worry about it. And Sherry's rightfully pissed because she's not looking to be, I guess the terminology would be she doesn't want to seem like a charity case in her brain.
She feels judged because the quote is that Javati comes in and she says, has Kiara been here yet? And she's like, who's Kiara? And she's like, oh, she's our social worker, she's great. And it's like, boom, done. Trust lost because she has no bond with Javati. She has this wonderful bond with McKay. McKay could have brought this up and it would have been okay because McKay is on her level. She gets it. She's been there. Javati is a young 20-year-old who has spent no time with her, has had no conversation with her, and is coming in to see if social services has swung by, basically. And it's like, great, so everyone here is just looking at me and thinking that I need help. So really fucks this up. And this is where McKay says, have you ever heard of impact over intent? Which, for anyone who's not heard of that, impact over intent basically means the impact of what you do means more every time, always, than your intent.
Yeah, because you can have all the good intentions in the world and it can come across harmful to someone. And it was heartbreaking the way that McKay kind of said, she probably won't be back, but there will be others just like her.
Mm-hmm. She says she's not saying it to reprimand Javati. She's saying it to help her learn, which is true. I again, like, Javati has good intentions, but again, that doesn't matter because she comes across as being judgmental. And this is when McKay finally is like, please, you've been, side-eyeing me all day. Like, yeah, finally someone calls her out and is like, please, like, you've been judgmental all day long, but I'm not mad at you. I just want you to understand your impact,
Yeah.
She has no chill face. Javati is like, she's like, don't worry.
You can read her like a book.
I'm like, yeah, your face did. God. But McKay does a really good job of putting her in her place without ruining their rapport. They continue to work together and they do okay. They do good together. So Head and Neck doesn't want to take the tonsillectomy patient because he came from a different hospital. Like, he had the tonsillectomy at a different hospital, and now they don't want to clean up another hospital's mess, which is so rich to me because, like, the ED doesn't get to make those. Like, they can't be like, sorry, don't want that one, don't want this one. But then the departments are like, this is why there's a boarding problem, because these other departments are like, I don't want that.
No, that was crazy to me. How can you just refuse?
So he spits blood all over Whitaker because this, like, scar tissue, the scabbing that they've been successfully working on, suddenly goes haywire. Langdon rushes in to help, slips on a puddle of blood, which is a detail that I love. And Whitaker is doing a great job of, like, emotionally caring for the patient and making eye contact and saying, you're okay, you're good, as, like, Langdon is yelling in his face, which is not like Langdon's yelling at him. He's just, like, trying to be heard, but he also needs to be right up in this kid's face. So he's, like, got all these people yelling in his face, and then Whitaker has the good sense to be like, you're okay, you're good, And I love the eye contact that he makes with this kid. we're going to now cut back and forth between Joyce and this kid because we're going to have 2 intubations happening. Joyce wants to be awake after she's intubated. Personally, if I were awake and someone was like, "I have to intubate you," I'd be, like, terrified of never waking up.
Put me out. Nope. Take me out.
Oh, no. I don't mean I wouldn't wanna be awake while I'm being intubated. That's not what I'm saying.
That
I
sounds
just mean, like,
horrible.
I just mean if someone put me to sleep to intubate me, I would be scared that I wouldn't wake up.
But how would you be afraid if you don't wake up? What
Well, you would
if?
be scared before you get put
What
under
if
to
you
be
have
intubated.
locked-in syndrome?
No, God, no, don't even say that.
Collins rushes up and takes over this intubation with Mohan for Joyce because Robbie is needed in trauma for that intubation. And Garcia joins in on the trauma. She wants to correct the patient, but Langdon is committed to like this like cowboy medicine, right? Because Robbie's like, I'll teach you something. We can do it's what is it called? It's called a retrograde intubation or something like that.
Yeah, retrograde intubation.
And they go backwards, basically, they put, like, a guide wire through his neck so that Langdon can then follow it back down, which is just crazy, but they're both incredibly committed, and honestly, I love the scene, I love the high stakes, I love the teamwork, I love the pressure, I love the acting, I love the aesthetics, I love everything about this
I
scene.
love Whitaker saying, "Oh god, I'm gonna lose another patient."
And Robbie's saying, "Shut up, Whitaker." This is such a good scene. The stakes are so high, and this is one of those moments where you're just, like, clawing and grasping at every second. You're just like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." It's
So
so
intense, yeah.
good. This is a great trauma scene. I love that Garcia says she says something about, like, "Okay, it's time to stop, like, we're done playing doctor," and I'm like, "Girl, what? What?
What are you then?
What else are we?" I think that Langdon and Robbie are such a fun duo to watch in a trauma scene
Mhm.
because they play off of each other so well. Langdon is such a good student. Robbie is such a good teacher. Like they're just great together. So we're simultaneously watching this very normal procedural intubation. Like everything goes according to plan. And Joyce's wife is like, that's it. And they're like, yep, we've done a million of these. Like it's great. It's fine. Everything went totally perfectly. And then we're watching this one that's just like not going right at all. And I also okay, so I read that the rule of thumb for an intubation is that for every day that you're intubated, it takes another like roughly another week to feel normal after you're extubated.
Yep, that's part of the reason why, like, when that's why the Spencers were asking, like, questions of, like, "Oh, will he be fine afterwards?" Like, even if he did recover, it takes a lot of time to recover afterwards because of the intubation.
And then also, I just wanted to explain when they say yellow on CO2, the little like the balloons that they use, they have like these little meters on the side, and they literally will turn yellow if there's CO2 coming because that's what you're supposed to be exhaling is CO2. And so when they say yellow on CO2, they're saying, yes, they're exhaling CO2. Like we're getting what we should be getting out. It's not like air is just, yeah, you'll hear that a lot. There's also I wanna say there's a moment in the mass casualty when you see that yellow
Hmm,
on one of them. It's like this, like, rectangle indicator
great.
of, like, white plastic, and you'll see it turn yellow, so that's really cool. One of my favorite lines, again, is Garcia saying, "You got lucky," and Langdon saying, "We got skills, baby, we got
We got
skills."
skills, baby. We got skills. For a three-peat, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Yeah, whatever.
Comedy comes in threes.
As do deaths.
When you have
So
skills,
be
yes.
careful.
It does.
So head and neck finally comes down, and Whitaker asks if he can cancel the Uber, and it cuts to Robbie and Langdon's
Great joke.
reaction to this. And Langdon is so impressed and amused by this. Like his eyes are like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, incredible. No notes.
So now we've got Mohan being encouraged by Collins. Collins is basically saying, "Don't worry about Robbie. You're doing great." And it's great that she's encouraging her and like hyping her up and saying, "You did a great job. You did exactly what you should have done." But also like maybe you shouldn't discount Robbie in the process.
Yeah, that bit of this did bug me. The way that because Robbie is very hard on her, but also there's a lot of ways in which Robbie is right. Like, she waited way too long with Joyce to like break this news to her. Like, this needed to happen faster. And like, both things can be true. Like, she did a great job, but also it needed to happen faster.
I think that this is very similar to in the previous episode when Garcia is like, oh, well, if she knew everything, she'd be your attending. And it's like, okay, that's true, but you're going so hard in defense of her that you just negated the lesson she could have learned.
Mm-hmm.
And this feels kind of similar to that. Not as extreme, I will say. I think Mohan still learns a lesson. But Collins, I'm also like, okay, maybe you shouldn't be at work. Everybody go home. You go home. You go home. Like, everybody go home. Y'all all suck today.
Everyone is going through something today. And that's before the mass casualty event.
That's before the miscarriage. Like, good God. Oh my God. So as Langdon and Robbie are exiting the trauma scene, we learn that Langdon has applied for an emergency department education fellowship. And Robbie tells him that he has like fully endorsed him, written him a letter of recommendation. And I just want to point out to people, Langdon's a great teacher.
I was just going to say that I will fully admit every teacher does not work for every student. And that's just life. Like, you could be the best teacher in the world and there are still going to be students who just don't gel with you. And that's fine. And that is life and that is whatever. And I don't think you necessarily, like, I don't think it's negative on either of their ends, really, that they just don't gel together.
Yeah. I think we get a lot more examples moving forward now that we learned that Langdon has applied for this fellowship. We're going to notice a lot more wonderful teaching moments between him and the others. I think they really come into focus more, or maybe the scripts focus on them more, whatever. But yeah, I just want to point that out. Okay. And so now Robbie is going to give Jake some cash and tell him to be safe. Please don't take anything. Yeah. And Jake doesn't want any more condoms. Wrapping it up here, we, wait, horrible verbiage there.
Oh my God.
The ambulance crashes. It's in their catchment. So now we have another incoming setting us up for next week. And then Christy gets her abortion meds and they're going through the instructions. And we know from a retrospective that Collins is basically advising her through personal experience because Collins has experienced this before. Oh, fun. This isn't Christy's mom. It's her aunt.
Mm-hmm.
Because Christy's mom comes rushing in and is like, oh, well, she's a minor, so she doesn't have my permission.
And this is kind of wild to me that, like, I'm like, how does this happen? Like, how does someone come in claiming to be her mom and, like, no one knows?
I imagine, because she has a visitor's pass, I imagine she, like, did have to go up to the front desk and be like, hey, is my daughter here? Like, this is my name, this is the insurance, blah, blah. I presume her daughter's under her insurance kind of stuff. Like, there's a lot of things to verify, like, is my daughter here? This is my daughter. And then they'll be like, oh, fuck, yep, she's back there.
Well, I more meant,
no,
like,
Matt was thinking,
the
like,
aunt.
opposite. Yeah.
I would assume that during check-in, she would have to show some form of ID. She would have to present some sort of insurance.
I mean, she has to
How did that all happen?
I imagine it's an ID, and then she just presents her name. I mean, like,
I don't know, man.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't have children that I take to the emergency room.
Yeah, I don't either.
So I don't really know how that works. Someone who works in intake, let us know.
I have children. I just don't take them to the emergency room.
Basically, this explains why in the last episode she was like, oh, I use a regular alarm clock too, but I forgot to bring it. And this explains that. So, yeah. Zoink, Scoob.
Right. And her mom does not want her to get this abortion.
No. You guys got anything else that you want to say?
What if we were friends?
I don't want to deal in hypotheticals right now.
If we were friends, I would kiss you tenderly on the forehead and tuck you into bed and say night-night.
Good night, Bobby.
I'm going home later, nerds. I'm going home. Goodbye.
Well, if that's all we've got, then so long, fellow losers.
The PITT CREW podcast is created and produced by us, Robert, Mal, and Camille. It's edited by me, Robert. You can find us on TikTok, Threads, and Instagram at PITT CREW Podcast. If you'd like to support our other projects, our socials are linked in the show notes below. Our art is by Rampacoca. He can be found on Instagram at Rampacoca. All patient questions and concerns can be emailed to pitcrewpodcast@gmail.com. Now, this isn't a Taco Bell, but we do appreciate a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to schedule a follow-up appointment with a nurse before you go. See you next time.